Welcome, y'all. It's Wes with DIY Food Plot Pro. Thank you so much for joining us. Today's episode, we are talking about weather events and how to make these fall plots the most successful that possibly can be. Many of us in the month of August, September experience a significant drying period. It's typically a dry time of the year. That is also the time that we are trying to plant these fall plots. So what should we do with these rain events if we're dry, if we're wet? Should we go ahead and plant? Some of the things that we need to know to try to have the most amount of success that we possibly can when planting these fall food plots. DIY Food Plot Pro is sponsored by Aircrow LLC, the Plot Protector Pro. Keep whitetails and other animals out of your food plots with the Plot Protector Pro. My name is Wes. I run the channel DIY Food Plot Pro. I've got a Bachelor of Science in Agronomy. I farm for a living, and I've got a 2,900 acre whitetail deer hunting outfitter in Western Kentucky where we cannot bait. So we rely heavily on the food plots that I produce on the channel to hunt and harvest the bucks that we are blessed to hunt here in Western Kentucky. During the months of August and September, typically is a drier time of the year. That is typically a time when rainfall is below average for the year, and we're planting these fall plots. So many of you are likely in the same boat that I am here. I've got my seeds out and they're ready to go, but guess what? We haven't had rain in about 10 days to 2 weeks, and we are dry. We've had 100-degree weather many days, and we are just absolutely bone dry right now. This is an important question for this time of the year, so I just wanted to make a video and explain some of the keys to having success in these fall plots. With us being dry, the worst thing that we can do is go in and broadcast some seed on top of the ground with no rain events in the forecast. And the reason for that being is we don't ever know what's fixing to come. If we're doing a strictly broadcast like we are right here, we came in 3 weeks ago and we burned this down with application of Roundup. Now we're gonna come in and we're just gonna broadcast the seed on top of the ground. And we're hoping for rain, pushes it down to get the seed to soil contact, and off to the races we'll be. Here's the problem with that when we don't know what kind of rain is coming. Let's say that we get 1/10 of an inch. Maybe even let's say you get more than that. Let's say we get 1/4 of an inch of rain, right? The soil's super duper dry. It's gonna soak it up and be gone in no time, especially as hot as it is this time of the year. 1/4 inch is not gonna last anytime when the soil's dry. If we came in here and we broadcast this fall mix, brassicas, annual clovers, things like that in here, we got 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch. That's probably the worst case scenario. And the reason for that is that would be enough moisture to get the germination process started. But you got to think about 1/2 inch down, 3/4 of an inch down. There's no moisture there. Even if that plant can get established and get started, it's sending its roots down and there's no moisture in the ground. That plant is going to wither, and if you don't get some plentiful rainfall events between that initial rainfall and say 2-3 weeks, that plant's gonna die because it's gonna wither up in that hot sun and dry soil. I get asked a lot, what about no-till drills? And drills are different because a drill, we can put seeds down in the soil. We're not depending on that perfect weather rain event to get those seeds really going. So for like a broadcast plot, when we're broadcasting on top of the ground, ideal conditions are 2 or 3 days of rain. Maybe not torrential downpours. If you get some, that's fine, but we're looking for 2 to 3 days of moist, wet soil conditions. So we're trying to get that seed germed, and we're trying to get that root down in the ground when there's moisture where that plant can take off. If you can get that combination, you can have a lot of success planting these broadcast plots. The difference between the broadcast and the no-till is if you're no-till drilling it, you can put that seed just a little bit deep in the soil. You still don't want to go very deep, no deeper than 1/2 inch. Most of the time we're looking at about 1/4 of an inch. But 1/4 of an inch is likely not going to start that germination process when the seed is 1/4 inch down. So I hope that makes sense, because the seed is kind of tucked away in that soil. It's going to take a pretty good rain event to get that soil profile soaked to where that seed can germ up. Completely different when it's sitting on top of the ground. With a no-till drill, you can go ahead and put your seeds in by the calendar day. I still like doing it by weather events, but with a no-till drill, I feel much better about putting the plot out there and letting it sit there for 2, 3, 4 weeks if it doesn't get any rain. It's fine. The seed's still viable. It's 100% viable. It's covered, it's in the ground. The birds, the crows, things like that are not gonna get to it. So we don't have a big problem with that. And we got seeds sitting on top of the ground for 2, 3, 4 weeks, and we got heavy dews and light showers and then high heat for the rest of the day. That's a bad combination for starting a good fall food plot. That's a lot of things that are kind of going against you in that are not going to help that food plot out in the long run. If you're working the ground, you can do more like the no-till, because you're actually going to bury that soil just a little bit. And so if you're gonna go in and you're gonna prepare the soil with a disc, a tiller, something like that, and then you're gonna broadcast it and then pack those seeds down, the seeds at that point are down in the soil. So at that point, you're more like the no-till, where you're kind of protected from those little bitty tiny showers that don't really amount to anything, but are going to be harmful to get seeds going that are on top of the ground. Hopefully we've got some rain coming sometime in the next 2 or 3 weeks. One important note that I wanted to mention is we're just now getting to the front edge of this thing. So fall plots have an extremely big window. Yes, if you don't plant the brassicas early, you're not going to get the bulb production. Other than that, you can get a lot of fall food plots planted all the way from now all the way up until a frost. A lot of these food plots that we're planting are cool weather dependent, and they will grow really, really good in those cooler weather environments that come later on in the fall. So we don't have to worry so much about, man, golly, Wes said to plant, and now here we are 10 days after and I still haven't planted. This is really not like the spring crops that we're trying to get planted at a certain time. We are mainly going by the weather forecast rather than we are the actual calendar date. That's the way I've always looked at this. I'm going to plant this when I've got 2 or 3 days of a good, inch and a half of rain coming. I'm going to run out here and I'm going to get all these fall food plots sowed, or as many as I can before that. Hopefully get that good rain on it, and then these will be off to the races. And at that point, we can always come back with fall plots and fill in. That is a huge benefit of fall plots that we don't really have in the springtime and summertime plots. If we get a poor stand, say right here behind us, just a little spot right here, we can always go back in with that mixture of annual clovers and cereal grains and thicken that spot up later on. No trouble whatsoever doing that. Done that many, many times. And so that's a good thing that we have on fall. If the deer absolutely browse this to death, don't let any growth to speak of happen here, well, then all of a sudden we can come back in really whenever we need to. It's best, corn toss will fly. We can really come back in whenever we need to. It's best to go 2 to 3 weeks before you start hunting or before your first frost, and we can fill this entire thing in with cereal grains. And so long as you got some moisture around, there's nothing any tougher than cereal rye, winter wheat, oats, as far as being able to germ in adverse conditions. Those crops can pretty much get established under any conditions, so long as there's just a little bit of moisture around. A lot of times you see those even like germing in the back of your truck bed. If you spill a little seed or something like that, they're just pretty tough and they germ up pretty easy. So hopefully you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching. The wind's about to blow you all away on the camera. Smash that like and subscribe button.